Hello and welcome to Senior Wise Journey, the place where we believe our later years aren't the end of the story, but the beginning of our most profound chapter. Do you ever look in the mirror and see the roadmap of a life well lived, yet feel a quiet, nagging sense that something is missing? Perhaps you imagined this season of life would feel different, more peaceful, more joyful. You've done everything right, followed the rules, and raised a family, yet a shadow of regret or a cloud of loneliness seems to follow you. The truth is, many of us are unintentionally sabotaging our own happiness. We fall into mental traps and outdated habits that drain our spirit without us even realizing it. But what if I told you that your golden years could genuinely be golden? What if the path to profound joy, deep connection, and vibrant health isn't about wishing for a different past, but about making powerful choices in your present? Today, we're going to uncover 5 of the most common, yet invisible, mistakes that can lead to misery after 60, and more importantly, we'll illuminate the path to avoiding them. This isn't about regret, it's about reclaiming your power. Part 1. The heavy anchor of yesterday, releasing bitterness. Let's start with the heaviest anchor of them all, bitterness. It's the slow, leaking poison many of us carry without even recognizing it as a choice. Think of it as a cold, heavy stone you carry in your pocket day after day. It might be the sting of a betrayal from a friend decades ago, a family argument over an inheritance that shattered relationships, or the lingering resentment toward a spouse for words left unsaid or dreams unfulfilled. You tell yourself you've moved on, but the stone is still there. You feel its weight every time that person's name comes up. You feel its chill when a memory floats by unbidden, replaying the argument, the slight, the disappointment in vivid detail. The famous saying is that holding on to bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. But it's deeper than that. In our senior years, bitterness becomes a thief. It robs the present of its potential for joy. When you have more quiet time, as many of us do after retiring, that silence can become a dangerous echo chamber. The unresolved anger and regret bounce off the walls of your mind, growing louder and more distorted with each passing year. It colors your perception of everything. A kind gesture from a child might feel suspicious. A sunny day might feel undeserved. Bitterness doesn't just live in the past. It builds a fortress around your heart in the present, and you become its lonely prisoner. Remember the story of Frank from the video? A 7-8-year-old man who hadn't spoken to his brother in 30 years over something trivial. Let's imagine Frank's reality. For 30 years, every holiday season was tinged with sadness. Every family photo had a noticeable gap. When friends talked about their siblings, a knot would form in his stomach. He didn't just lose a brother, he lost 30 years of shared laughter, 30 years of support during tough times, 30 years of memories that could have been. The initial anger was a spark, but his refusal to let go turned it into a consuming fire that burned away decades of potential connection. His pride became more important than his peace. This bitterness also changes how people see us, whether we admit it or not. People can sense a hardened heart. It manifests as a certain guardedness, a quickness to judge, or an emotional distance that makes connection feel impossible. New friendships can't take root in poisoned soil. Existing relationships become strained. Your children or grandchildren might start walking on eggshells around you, afraid to trigger an old grievance. The very thing that makes you feel justified, your righteous anger, becomes the wall that guarantees your loneliness. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You feel wronged by the world, so you push the world away, and then feel even more wronged when you find yourself alone. So how do we put down this heavy stone? It's not about pretending the hurt didn't happen. Forgiveness is not about condoning the action. It's about canceling the debt of pain you are forcing yourself to carry. It begins with a courageous decision. What happened was painful, and it was wrong. But I will no longer allow that event from my past to define the quality of my present. The first step is acknowledgement. Say it out loud to yourself or a trusted friend. I am bitter about this, and it is hurting me. Naming the poison is the first step to finding the antidote. The second step is to consciously shift your focus. When the old memory replays, Don't fight it, but gently redirect your mind. Acknowledge it. There's that old story again, and then pivot to something in your present moment you're grateful for. The warmth of your coffee cup, the birds singing outside your window, the fact that you are here, now, with the power to choose. This isn't about denial, it's about starving the bitterness of the attention it needs to survive. Finally, redefine forgiveness. It isn't for them, it's for you. It is the ultimate act of self-love. It's you, standing at the gate of that prison of resentment and choosing to walk out into the sunshine. When you let go of bitterness, your shoulders physically feel lighter. Laughter comes more easily. You start to notice the good in people again. You open the door for reconciliation, not just with others, but with yourself. The past is a story we tell ourselves. By letting go of bitterness, you finally give yourself permission to write a new, more joyful ending. Part 2. Your body's wisdom. Partnering with physical change. For decades, our bodies were our servants. They did what we told them. They built careers, raised children, ran marathons, and powered through with sheer force of will. But after 60, the relationship begins to shift. Our body is no longer just a servant. It's trying to become our wise partner. And this is where the second great mistake takes hold: ignoring its wisdom. We interpret its gentle warnings as rebellion. The creak in the knee isn't a request for support, it's an insult. The need for an afternoon nap isn't a wise suggestion for energy management, it's a sign of failure. This mistake is born of pride and fear. Our identity is often wrapped up in our strength and independence. We were the ones people counted on. The thought of using a cane, asking for help opening a jar, or admitting we can't hear the television clearly feels like a surrender. It feels like we are becoming the old person we never wanted to be. But here is the profound truth. Ignoring these changes doesn't stop them. It just makes the consequences more severe. Turning a blind eye to your worsening balance doesn't make you more stable. It makes you a candidate for a hip-shattering fall that can steal your independence in an instant. Let's look deeper at the psychology of this denial. For many men of a certain generation, admitting physical vulnerability was seen as a weakness. You were taught to tough it out. For many women, being the tireless caregiver was their role. To admit you need care yourself can feel like you're failing at your core identity. But strength in this season of life needs a new definition. Strength is not pretending you're invincible. True strength is the wisdom to adapt. It's the courage to say, "My body has new needs, and I am going to honor them so I can continue to live a full and vibrant life." Consider the story of Gerald, the 4-year-old who scoffed at using a walker, calling it something for old folks. His pride wasn't preserving his youth. It was gambling with his freedom. After his fall, the walker was no longer a choice. It was a necessity, along with months of painful rehab and a loss of confidence that was far more debilitating than using a mobility aid would have been. Now, imagine an alternative path for Gerald. Imagine he noticed his unsteadiness and saw it not as a failure, but as a signal. He decides to view it like a car's check engine light. He makes an appointment with his doctor. He learns about exercises to improve his balance. He starts Tai Chi at the local senior center. Maybe he even gets a handsome walking stick, not as a symbol of frailty, but as a tool for empowerment, allowing him to continue his daily walk safely. In this scenario, Gerald isn't giving in to aging. He's taking charge of it. He's partnering with his body, not fighting against it. This proactive approach is empowering. Scheduling regular checkups isn't a fearful obligation, it's executive-level management of your most valuable asset. Going to physical therapy isn't a punishment. It's like hiring a personal trainer for the body you have today. Acknowledging hearing loss and getting hearing aids isn't about being old. It's about refusing to be cut off from the laughter of your grandchildren. Each of these adaptations is an act of profound self-respect. It is you saying, "My quality of life matters, my safety matters, my connection to the world matters." Misery comes from the exhausting, frustrating friction of pretending you are fine when your body is telling you otherwise. Peace comes from listening to its wisdom and responding with compassionate, intelligent care. Part 3. The myth of solitude. Cultivating your circle of light. There is a pervasive and dangerous myth about aging, that it is a journey into solitude. As the years pass, our social circles naturally begin to shrink. Friends move to be closer to their kids, loved ones pass away, and health challenges can make it harder to get out. It becomes easier to decline invitations. It feels simpler to just stay home. We tell ourselves we're content with our own company. But this slow, creeping isolation is the third mistake, and it is a silent epidemic that starves the human spirit. Human beings are not designed for solitude. We are hardwired for connection. We regulate our emotions, sharpen our minds, and find our sense of purpose through our relationships with others. When you spend day after day without meaningful conversation, your world contracts. Your own thoughts, especially the negative ones, begin to loop and magnify, just like the bitterness we discussed earlier. Minor anxieties can blow up into major fears. Without the sounding board of a friend or the simple joy of a shared laugh, life begins to lose its color. Medical studies are clear. Chronic loneliness in older adults carries health risks comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day and is more dangerous than obesity. But you don't need a study to know the ache of a silent home. The biggest lie that loneliness tells you is that you're the only one. You look around and assume everyone else is busy with their families and friends. You convince yourself that you don't want to be a burden, that nobody has time for you. This is the voice of isolation, and its only goal is to keep you trapped. Let's go back to Edna, the 82-year-old widow who found new life in a quilting circle. What was really happening there? It wasn't just about the quilting. Stitch by stitch, she was rebuilding her social fabric. The simple act of showing up was an act of defiance against loneliness. The small talk about patterns and thread led to bigger talk about memories and family. She wasn't just joining a group, she was rejoining the human race. She was reminded that her story still mattered, that her presence brought joy to others, and that new friendships can blossom at any age. That small group didn't just fill her Tuesday afternoons, it filled a hole in her heart. So, how do you fight back against the myth of solitude? You must be intentional. Connection rarely just happens in our later years. It must be cultivated. Start small. The goal isn't to suddenly become a social butterfly. The goal is one more connection than you had yesterday. Create a connection menu for yourself. What sounds appealing? Low energy options. Make a phone call to an old friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Write a letter or an email. Sit on your front porch and make it a point to wave and say hello to everyone who walks by. Community options. Visit your local library or senior center and just look at the bulletin board. Is there a book club, a card game, a history lecture? You don't have to be an expert to join. You just have to be curious. Purpose-driven options. Can you volunteer? Hospitals, schools, and animal shelters are often desperate for reliable, wise volunteers. Having a place you are needed is a powerful antidote to feeling useless. Intergenerational options. Many communities have programs that connect seniors with young people for mentoring or reading. Sharing your life experience with a younger generation is a profound way to affirm your value. The first step is always the hardest. You will feel awkward. Your mind will give you a dozen reasons why you should just stay home. Acknowledge that fear, and then take one small step anyway. Choose to believe that people are kinder than your fear tells you they are. Choose to believe that you are not a burden, but a potential gift to someone else who might also be feeling lonely. Misery is born in the silence. Joy is rediscovered in the simple, courageous act of saying hello. Part 4. Listening to life's whispers. Decoding the message of pain. Now, we need to address a specific and insidious form of physical neglect, ignoring pain. This is different from the general physical decline we already discussed. This isn't about slowing down, it's about actively suffering when you may not have to. The fourth mistake is dismissing specific, persistent pain, the nagging ache in your shoulder, the sharp twinge in your back, the burning in your joints, as an unavoidable and untreatable part of the aging process. You tell yourself, "It's just my arthritis acting up," or "What do you expect at my age?" This mindset is often a relic of the past. Many of us were raised by parents from the grin and bear it generation. You didn't complain, you didn't make a fuss, you simply endured. But there is no trophy handed out at the end of life for most pain endured. There is only the quiet misery of a life made smaller by discomfort. Pain is not a moral failing, it is a biological signal. It is your body's check engine light, flashing urgently to let you know that something needs attention. Ignoring it is like putting a piece of black tape over the light on your dashboard and hoping the engine doesn't blow up. The consequences of ignoring pain ripple outward, affecting every corner of your life. That sore knee doesn't just hurt when you walk. It stops you from gardening. It makes you think twice about going to the grocery store. It prevents you from getting on the floor to play with your grandkids. Soon, you're avoiding activities you once loved. You sit more. Your muscles weaken, making the original problem worse. Your sleep is disrupted. Lack of sleep and chronic pain wear down your mood, making you irritable and discouraged. It's a vicious cycle of decline that often starts with one treatable problem that was dismissed as just part of getting older. Let's revisit the story of Roy, the 7-8-year-old fisherman. He loved being out on the lake. It was his sanctuary, his place of peace. When the stiffness in his hands began, he told himself it was arthritis and that his fishing days were over. He quietly mourned the loss of his favorite hobby. Think of the sadness and frustration that built up over those years. It wasn't just a physical loss, it was a spiritual one. His daughter's insistence that he see a doctor wasn't just about his hands, it was about his soul. The diagnosis, a treatable pinched nerve, was a revelation. It meant his pain wasn't a life sentence. The physical therapy wasn't a chore, it was a path back to himself. The day he stood by that lake again, rod in hand, was more than just a fishing trip. It was a victory over the resignation that steals so much joy from our later years. He reclaimed a part of his identity he thought was gone forever. This is why listening to your body is a critical skill for aging well. Modern medicine has made incredible advances. Joint replacements are more effective and less invasive than ever before. Pain management techniques, from physical therapy to new medications, can offer relief that was unimaginable a generation ago. Dismissing your pain without exploring the options is to assume nothing has changed in the world of medicine in the last 40 years. If you are living with persistent pain, please see it as a message, not a sentence. Make an appointment. Write down your symptoms. When it hurts, what it feels like, what makes it better or worse. Be your own advocate. Don't let a doctor dismiss your concerns either. If you feel you're not being heard, seek a second opinion. You deserve comfort. You deserve to participate in your own life. You deserve days defined by what you can do, not by what you must endure. Choosing to address your pain is one of the most profound acts of self-care you can undertake. Part 5. The courage to connect, the strength in asking for a hand. Approx. 840 words. This brings us to our final and perhaps most challenging mistake because it underpins all the others. It is the stubborn, prideful, and ultimately self-defeating refusal to ask for help. This is the quiet struggle that happens behind closed doors. It's the senior who can't read the fine print on their medication bottle but won't tell their kids. It's the widow who is overwhelmed by yard work but can't bring herself to hire a neighborhood teen. It's the grandfather who is utterly baffled by his new smartphone but insists he's got it figured out. Why is asking for help so hard? Because for our entire adult lives, we were the helpers. We were the providers, the caretakers, the problem solvers. Our sense of self-worth is deeply intertwined with our competence and independence. To ask for help feels like we are admitting defeat. It feels like we are becoming a burden, the very thing we swore we would never be. But this thinking is flawed. It equates needing help with being helpless, and they are not the same thing. Needing a hand with a specific task does not erase a lifetime of strength and contribution. It is simply an acknowledgement of a new reality. There is immense strength and wisdom in recognizing your limits and building a team to support you. Look at Barbara, the 74-year-old widow who tried to fix her own plumbing. Her intention was noble. She didn't want to bother her son, but the outcome was disastrous. The flood, the expense, the stress, all of it was avoidable. And the deepest pain wasn't the damaged floor. It was her son's heartbreak when he said, "Mom, I wish you had just called. I would have loved to help you." In her attempt to avoid being a burden, she inadvertently created a much larger one, and more importantly, she denied her son the opportunity to show his love and care for her in a tangible way. When you refuse to ask for help, you are not just making your own life harder. You are robbing your loved ones of the gift of giving. People who care about you want to help. It makes them feel useful, connected, and valued in your life. When you let your son or daughter help you with your finances, or let your neighbor pick up groceries for you, you aren't losing dignity. You are fostering connection. You are building a bridge of trust and interdependence that strengthens your relationships. So, how do you start? You build the asking muscle. Like any muscle, it gets stronger with use. Start small and specific. Don't say, "I need help." That feels huge and vague. Say, "Could you help me reach that box on the top shelf?" Or, "Could you take a look at this email and tell me if it looks legitimate?" Frame it as a partnership. Instead of "I can't do this," try "I'd love to get your opinion on this," or "Could we tackle this together?" Be gracious, not apologetic. When someone helps, thank them warmly. Don't say, "I'm so sorry to be a bother." Say, "Thank you so much. That was a huge help to me." This affirms their contribution and makes them feel good about it. Asking for help is the ultimate act of wisdom. It acknowledges that life is a team sport. It demonstrates the courage to be vulnerable and the confidence to know that your worth is not defined by your ability to do everything by yourself. Don't let pride isolate you. Don't let fear overwhelm you. Reaching out your hand is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you are strong enough to keep living well with the support and love you so richly deserve. As we've journeyed through these 5 common pitfalls, a powerful theme has emerged. Aging well is not a passive process. It is an active, moment-by-moment choice. It is the choice to transform bitterness into peace. It is the choice to meet physical change with wisdom, not denial. It is the choice to cultivate connection over isolation. It is the choice to seek comfort over endurance. And it is the choice to build a community of support rather than struggling in proud silence. No one gives us a manual for this season of life, but your own life has already been the ultimate textbook. You have survived too much, learned too much, and loved too much to let your final chapters be defined by avoidable misery. The awareness you have right now is the first, most powerful step toward change. It is never too late to ask for help, to forgive an old wound, or to make a new friend. Your story is not over. Thank you for spending this time with us at Senior Wise Journey. Your life is a testament to resilience, and you deserve a future filled with joy. If this message resonated with you, please give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and share it with a friend who also deserves to live their golden years to the fullest.